everyone, my name is Ryan Cam, and welcome back to my road to Deadpool and Wolverine, where I'm going to be covering every 20th Century Fox X-Men movie in honor of Deadpool and Wolverine coming to theaters at the end of the month. I have already covered X-Men 1, 2, and 3. Those reviews will be linked in the eye in the right-hand corner. Please do check those out for yourself. But now we have come to this. X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Oh, shit!
If you've clicked on this video, you know exactly what this movie is, and you are probably cringing as you are watching this. So I don't really need to do anything plot-related for this. As usual, kind of a running theme when it comes to these X-Men movies, the production was a nightmare. Shout out to Jake from 3D Movie Cinema for texting me some tidbits that he picked up and kind of sent to me. So he kind of did my research for me, sort of, kind of. But I thought they were fascinating, and I'm going to read them off to you now. So shout out to you, Jake. Thank you so much for texting me these. Apparently, the production of this movie got so behind because director Gavin Hood and Richard Donner's production company head got so into it over the direction of the movie that upper brass from Richard Donner's production company had to fly to Australia personally to get the movie back on track. The movie got incredibly behind in production, which meant that, among other things, the scene where Professor X comes out of the spaceship, question mark? At least it looks like a spaceship to me. And the fact that Wade,
Come on, man, that's garbage.
and we'll get to that in a minute, that Wade has no lines of dialogue, and Ryan Reynolds just improv'd everything. That's the kind of mess that this movie was before you got it into anything on the screen. Tyler Mane, the character actor who played Michael Myers in the Rob Zombie Halloween remake, and also played, I guess, Sabretooth in the first X-Men movie, although he's billed as Victor Creed in that one, wanted to come back to play Sabretooth in this movie. However, the production company said, we want a real actor for this role. I can imagine what Tyler Mane's reaction to that was in the form of this George Carlin clip.
Oh, hey, it's for you.
And Brian Cox was all set to return as William Stryker, but Liev Schreiber wanted to play Sabretooth and was set to be the William Stryker character, and so production was like, screw it. Give Sabretooth to Liev Schreiber. And Danny Houston ended up replacing Brian Cox because continuity schmontinuity. Really, I can just group all of my problems with this movie into 3 blanket sections, and hopefully I will cover the vast swath of awfulness that is X-Men Origins Wolverine in these 3 sections. I know I will fail, but I will try. So, section number 1, just general incompetence. The movie looks awful. The action scenes are in just the bad kind of shaky cam, and the CGI is really bad, especially for the 4th X-Men movie. And I saw some complaints in some reviews of The Last Stand that said the CGI was bad in that movie, and there's some questionable moments there, but it's even worse in Origins. There are scenes in which CGI effects happen and you just go, that doesn't even look finished. For example, when Sabretooth and Wolverine fight for the first time, where Wolverine has the bone claws, Sabretooth drops a bunch of logs on top of Wolverine, and the logs don't even like roll or anything. They just fall on top of Wolverine and go, and they just sit there because they were digital and they weren't real logs. And I'm not expecting real logs to be dumped on Hugh Jackman or his stunt double. You could have made that effect look 1,000 times better than just rolling out the trunk and going thunk. Professor X's de-aging looks so uncanny valley, it is just bordering on the bizarre. This is a very effects-heavy movie, and none of it looks really that good to begin with. Not to mention the fact that in the lead up to this movie, in the first opening scene, you get to see Wolverine and Sabretooth go through several wars. Civil War, World War I, World War II, All would have much rather have made a much better movie. But no, 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 we've got to make room for Wolverine's girlfriend, who is secretly a sleeper agent for William Stryker.
You can't fix stupid.
Number two, continuity schmontinuity, who cares? This is the movie that broke the X-Men series' continuity, the movie series continuity, in a way that it never truly recovered. Decisions are made, like, for example, recasting Sabretooth as Liev Schreiber, no offense to Liev Schreiber, and just logical flaws that just make you go, why? And don't even get me started on the fact that Wolverine caused 3 Mile Island?
I can eat more marijuana than anybody in the world.
And there's Professor X just showing up randomly to get Alex Summers, who I want to say is Scott Summers' father, brother, and several mutants from 3 Mile Island to take them to the Xavier School of Gifted Youngsters, which was apparently set up in the 1980s, despite the fact that in the next movie, X-Men First Class, it shows that the school was set up just after the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Space is warped and time is bendable.
And honestly, number 3 in section 3 of 3, the what the hell were they even thinking section? Or were they thinking at all? This really just falls to the casting choices of some of these mutants. First of all, one of the mutants is played by will.i.am.
Who?
The guy from the Black Eyed Peas, the lead singer.
Who?
The guy that sang Boom Boom Pow.
Who?
The band that sang I Got a Feeling.
Who?
I'm really dating myself with these references, am I? Alright, I'm gonna stop now, but the only reason that this individual was cast in this movie because the Black Eyed Peas were at the very peak of their relevance in 2009, and this must have easily been a studio mandate. And then, of course, there is off-brand, non-union, legally distinct Deadpool. Honestly, this whole thing has been kicked to death. This dead horse has been kicked nearly to death. Hell, even Deadpool himself took it upon himself to take care of this little problem. But just because the movies acknowledged and laughed at the problem does not fix the problem. It doesn't change the fact that you look at this thing and you very clearly understand this is supposed to be Deadpool, and this is just not Deadpool. It's a slap in the face to everyone who calls themselves a Deadpool fan. And I am not a Deadpool fanboy. I understand his appeal, but it's just a character that I never truly resonated with. But I understand Deadpool has his fans, and I understand that. But it does not take a genius to understand what Deadpool is, and just a general feeling of just who this character is. Just the basics. The red suit, chimichangas, foul mouth, breaking the fourth wall. This movie did none of these things. And I'm not saying that we needed Deadpool in 2009, but if you're gonna cast Ryan Reynolds as a character named Wade Wilson, you might as well go all the way and have him play Deadpool. It's like having a horror movie with Robert Englund in it, who plays a doctor who studies dreams who is named Fred. You might as well just cast him as Freddy Krueger, for all that we care. Taylor Kitsch is in the movie as Gambit. Do you remember him? Do you remember in 2012 when he got 3 entire movies because Hollywood really wanted to make him a big deal, and most of them flopped? Yeah, me neither. John Carter rocks, though. I could go on, but I think you get my point. This movie is horrid. It's just a bad movie across the board, and I will not hear any arguments about movies like X-Men: The Last Stand being bad X-Men movies if you lump them in with X-Men Origins Wolverine, because X-Men: The Last Stand is flawed, excuse me, but it is Citizen Kane compared to X-Men Origins Wolverine, which felt like it was made by people who clearly do not understand the source material. This felt very much like The Rise of Skywalker, where it's just like, throw some Star Wars stuff on the screen, people will watch it. This movie felt like throw Wolverine and some random ass X-Men on the screen and people will go and see it. But honestly, I'm done talking about it. What did you all think of the movie? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to read what you have to say. Thank you all so much for 500 subscribers. It means the world to me. But now we are going to be moving on to a much better X-Men movie in every conceivable way. And I'm going to be having the other third of the Small Talk podcast, Matt Wyatt, join me for this one. It is 2011's X-Men First Class.